to another edition of Vinto's Vault. Well, today we'll be entering the vault with an FAB kind of an atmosphere going on, as we're here to talk about Thunderbirds. That's right, the 1965 classic, which is still held in high regard. We had like three new episodes, which were basically created from the from some records in the early 60s, which apparently if you have BritBox now, you can watch them on there. So if you're a Thunderbirds addict and you want to watch them, subscribe to BritBox. I think you get 30 days free trial. This is not sponsored by BritBox in any way, shape or form. But yes, I'm here to talk about Thunderbirds. Obviously Thunderbirds, like I say, came out in the mid-60s. It was something that my father watched whenever he was growing up. So then whenever I was growing up, I remember that he hired this out for me, which is my earliest memory of Thunderbirds, that he hired this video out, and there was another one which hopefully I can pop here. So yeah, there was two different videos. There was Countdown to Disaster, which was one of them, which was basically like a couple episodes like strung together. Speaking of which, the Countdown to Disaster, which was basically to do with them moving the Empire State Building, and the Empire State Building had Ned Cook on it, so I have to thank my good buddy Dave for getting me this. Oh, sorry about the glare there. It's Ned Cook in the corner there. This is just like a little art print, which I really love. Had to get a frame for it, so it's hanging up on the wall. So it just says, exclusive news coverage brought to you by NTBS 8 reporter Ned Cook. So yeah, with that, him and his cameraman, Joe, I think his name is, they end up falling down under the rubble of where the Empire State Building basically collapses, and they have to get there. But there's a big problem. It's a Thunderbird 2, which looks like this. Is out of commission. So this is actually a Corgi model from 1992. So you can actually press the buttons there to make it land. But the big thing is you can actually open it up, and then it comes Thunderbird 4. So that's what has to go and rescue it, rescue Ned and his buddy. Yeah, I've had these since these came out. These are just a nice little keepsake. I also do have Thunderbird 1, so these are what the actual ships look like in the show, and Thunderbird 3, which is in the outer space one. That's basically just to do with this, because this hardly had any missions. This was basically to go up to Thunderbird 5 to relieve John. That's not as weird as it sounds. To basically go and swap him over with Alan Tracy. So you had Alan Tracy on Thunderbird 3, you had Scott Tracy on Thunderbird 1, you had Virgil Tracy on Thunderbird 2, and Gordon Tracy on Thunderbird 4. You then had, yes, milady, which is Parker, who would drive Fab 1 with Lady Penelope. And then you also had, right, Mr. Tracy, you had Brains, who was the architect and designer of all these crafts. So yeah, this has kind of gone a bit all over the place, but yeah, they are the main models and who pilots them and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's how I became invested in it. So it was nice that something my father watched that I would then watch, and I actually enjoyed. I enjoyed so much that I then ended up buying the box set of them all whenever this came out in 1999, I believe. This, from what I remember, cost me about 65 quid. So it, you know, like, it basically has all the stuff there with it. So you have like 9 volumes, and then you have the Thunderbirds companion as well. So yeah, so this has, you know, so with the Trapped in the Sky, that's the Fireflash landing, which was the very first episode, you know, like, so you see that going on, to do with that there's a bomb, and if they come into land, if they lower a certain, it's basically like film Speed, but to do with a plane instead of a bus. So this has always been something that I've held dear and always in pride of place in my collection, because of how much it cost, and the fact that it has basically everything that you would want from that as well. You also had then, at a later date, you had a couple of movies. So you had Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbird 6. These didn't do really well at the box office. There's actually a one, I'll see if we can do this right. making everything go everywhere. There's actually a documentary called Film in Super Mario Nation, which basically chronicles the history of Jerry Anderson and what he created. So there was like Stingray, Captain Scarlet, Joe 90, Terrorhawks, that kind of thing. So they actually talk in there about the movies and such. And you also have a disc with it, which is called This is Super Mario Nation, which is that. And basically you have episodes of certain ones. So you have Four Feather Falls, which was voiced by Nicholas Parsons. And then you had like Captain Scarlet, Joe 90, etc. And then you did have, I think it was the one that I was talking about. Yeah, Terror in New York City. So that's the thing to do with the Empire State Building. So it's on that as well. But if, again, I think this is maybe on, like on demand and things like that. So if you live in the UK and want to watch it, I think you can pick this up for less than £10 as well. But yeah, the films aren't that great, especially the Thunderbirds 6-1. I don't really enjoy that much. With the film in Super Mario Nation, again, I have to thank my Thunderbirds pal, Dave. That's the only way to get this out, which gives you this book, which is filmed in Super Mario Nation. I did put a bookmark at a certain point that I wanted to show you. You can always tell this is rough and ready whenever it's with me. So this basically shows you some of the stills from Thunderbirds. So the elevator cart there, that's to do with the fire flash. You've got Alan Tracy in the corner there. There's Parker. You've got the hood there. Scott Tracy there. I was very fortunate enough to, at LFCC 2018, I want to say, that I was lucky to meet these guys, which is Shane Rimmer and, oh my, Matt Zimmerman. I don't know where I pulled that from, who voiced Scott Tracy and Alan Tracy. Unfortunately, Mr. Rimmer passed away not too long ago, so I was very fortunate to meet him. I was lucky enough also to interview him for the podcast that I used to do called Operation Retro Shock. It was a pure pleasure to talk to him, and he actually was the train conductor, from what I remember, in Batman Begins as well. So it was nice to see him in that. But this is a heavy book, so again, thanks to Dave for this. Dave always seems to send me messages whenever it's stuff to do with Thunderbirds, because it's something that him and I definitely have in common. Yes, so I actually forgot that I needed to get some other stuff to talk about. So excuse a little gap there. So yeah, after that there was real lull in anything Thunderbirds until the live action movie that came out in 2004, I think this was. Now, you think I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking this looks brilliant, but instead of focusing on the actual Thunderbirds, this focused more on Alan Tracy, Brains Jr., and I think Tintin. You did have, was it Bill Pullman? Bill Paxton, I always get those two mixed up. Bill Paxton, who played Jeff Tracy. You had Anthony Edwards, who was Mark Green in ER, playing Brains. You had Sophia Myles, who was Madame de Pompadour from the Girl in the Fireplace Doctor Who episode, playing Lady Penelope. And you also had Ben Kingsley, Mandarin, I always do that, Mandarin, from Iron Man 3, amongst other things. He played the Hood in this. So you thought with a decent cast, but no, it's just, I basically got this the other day for £1 in Poundland just to show you the cover of it. And I think Busted did the theme tune for this as well, which basically says it all. Yeah, so after that then, I think it was in 2015 that we had the CGI versions of Thunderbirds. Now this is the first season of it. I have still to get the season 2 and 3. You did have David Graham reprising his role as Parker, which I thought was a lovely touch. It's a good show, don't get me wrong. It's definitely, the animation of it's very, very crisp. It's very good. The models stay true. I think it's some of the composers from Doctor Who, I can't remember their names, but they did the music for this, and it's very much like the original one as well. You still have at the start the Thunderbirds are go. You've yet to see Jeff Tracy in this, from what I remember. I've only watched this here, but yeah, it's very, very good, and especially if you're of that ilk where you want to show your kids something that you watch whenever you were growing up, then this may be an idea for you. And if you don't have kids, then just watch it yourself. Yeah, and with Thunderbirds, obviously it was in comic books, so I have a couple of classic comics here. So this is volume 5, Thunderbird 5, obviously. Thunderbird 4, which is volume 4, and obviously you have some of the art in there, which is quite nice. I think these are all again from the early 60s or so. I don't know if it actually tells you. It may tell you at the start, or maybe it won't. You can tell I'm always real prepared with this here, so, but no, it doesn't. And then you've got volume 3. I'm missing volume 2 here, and then you've got volume 1, which is here. With the vast scape of what Thunderbirds actually is, you do have the complete book of Thunderbirds, which basically just chronicles everything and anything to do with Thunderbirds. You've got like a foreword there by the late great Jerry Anderson, whose son Jamie still keeps the love of Thunderbirds alive, especially on social media. There's Jeff Tracy and Alan Tracy there. But yeah, this was another steal of the book that I got for a couple of quid off Amazon, and one that whenever I saw was coming out, this was to celebrate the 50 years of Thunderbirds, and this is Thunderbirds The Vault. This is basically like your Bible to do with all things Thunderbirds. Anything you want to know, anything you thought you know, and then turned out to be wrong, will be in this book. It is an absolute, the majority of these Vault books, if there's something to do with a franchise that I like, I will then pick this up. So I'm going to see if I can find a decent bit of, so there's like Fab 1 up the top with Lady Penelope and Parker. You also have the Thunderbird 1 launch thing with, beside that wee circle there was actually a lemon squeezer put on, and they actually did that on the new one as well. This chronicles basically all the things to do with there. You can see like London Palladium, there's Thunderbirds Are Go, to do with the movie, etc. But this is just an absolute beast of a book. It's quite a thick book as well, but like I say, anytime you have a franchise, say like Transformers or Star Wars or whatever, if you can find a book like the Vault book, it will contain pretty much everything that you want to. I know there's like art books and things like that, which I would love one of these for, but this is just an absolute beast of a book. So I think that kind of chronicles my love for Thunderbirds, which was kind of all over. I'm normally a bit more structured than this, but I think because it's something that's close to my heart, that I just really wanted to get everything done as quickly as I can. And if I look weird, it's because I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me, bless my face. So yeah, in case I start sneezing again. So yeah, so that's going to do it for my love of Thunderbirds, which is FAB. Again, if you don't know what that is, look that up. There also was a, I'm going to see if I could put a bit of it here, actually, while it popped in my head. There was actually a track that got to number 3 or 4 in the UK charts, which was MC Parker. So I'm going to put a bit of it here.
1. Thunderbirds Are Go. Okay, Brain, here we go. It's not so now. 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 Watch your eardrums. She's about to lift off.
Yes, so you can see there's Parker just living large and going on. He actually appeared in certain things like fantasy football with David Baddiel and Frank Skinner, which was very weird. I think I was with the late great Paul Yates as well, that he appeared on that show from what I remember. But yeah, they've obviously advertised so many things like Kit Kat commercials and such.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go. Thunderbirds are go. Go, Thunderbirds!
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Thunderbirds, go!
Hey, can we turn that music down a bit?
Oops, wrong button. What now?
Now we
Hit the hut.
Get a Thunderbirds cup, a kid's soft drink, and a kid's cheese and tomato pizza for $2.99.
Yes, John?
Hey guys, you haven't forgotten about me, have you?
Coming right up.
For a Thunderbirds meal,
Hit the hut.
Hi there, this is Shane Rimmer, voice of Scott Tracy here from Thunderbirds. You're listening to Chris and Alan swapping stories and dialogue on Operation Retro Shop. So stay tuned. You never know what you're going to hear.
Hope you enjoyed that little promo there from Shane Rimmer. I forgot to actually add that in. And I actually forgot to talk about these two guys here. So this was actually a Thunderbirds puppet that my buddy Dave, who I've been talking about quite a lot, sent me many Christmases ago. Obviously this is still in its box, seen better days, but it's quite an old thing. As you can see there, and then the back. I don't know why it has Thunderbird 1 on the back of it, considered it's Virgil. You know, so it should have actually had Thunderbird 2 on the back of it. Then we have the other ones here, which is Scott, Alan, Virgil, and the Hood. Per Gordon and John don't actually get one. I've never actually taken this out of the box, and I don't think I will do. So you go from this, and then you go from one that my buddy Mike sent me a couple of Christmases ago, which is the Big Chief Studios one, and you can just see the detail on this. Sorry that I'm doing this in portrait instead of landscape, but it just gives a better feel for you to actually look at this. We have the little things here for the end of his gun. We have his gun in here. Excuse the way he's positioned, but it's the only way you get him to stand. Obviously the hands are so well detailed. And then we have down here Scott Tracy Pilot Thunderbird 1. I'm actually going to take him off here, just so you can see the actual detail of this, which is absolutely phenomenal. It actually looks like, if you look like that, it looks like it has a bit of stubble on his chin. Either that or it's dust, one or the other. But it's just absolutely superb detail. And then on the back of him as well, he actually has his watch there to communicate with Jeff in International Rescue HQ. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly show you these here with great pieces to add. But this Big Chief Studios, I know a friend Dave has pretty much all these. But yeah, just thought I'd show you. And yeah, they actually had their own PlayStation 2 game, which I never got because I'm pretty sure it's rubbish. Because certain games with franchises like that, I think they're mainly aimed for kids, and I don't think it sold very well or did much money at all. But yeah, that's gonna stop my rambling now. And yeah, thank you very much for watching my Thunderbirds all over the place kind of show. I think International Rescue really needed to rescue me on this one, but hopefully you enjoyed it all nonetheless with my rambling going over this, that, and whatever. I'll try and be a bit more structured in the next one. Hopefully, now fingers crossed, hopefully that the next one I do will be Ghostbusters. I'm waiting for a couple more things to come for that, for me to then talk to you about, and talk to you about certain aspects of it and what pertains to me as well. So again, this is never a history lesson. This is just to do with bits and pieces that I have to do with the franchises that I love, and I really do enjoy coming on and talking to you about it. And thank you for commenting, liking, subscribing, all that kind of good stuff. And I think we're at the time of recording this, we're at 38 subscribers. Once we get to 50 plus subscribers, I'll be doing a giveaway to do with a couple of retro DVDs. So yeah, just make sure to subscribe, and once we hit that milestone, I'll give you the information of what you can win and all that good stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time. That was me doing an impression of Brains. Bye.
5, 4,